Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today, I figured we'll try to get yet another step towards completion of my reviews of pretty much everything that's in the game. And we're looking at the République, the tier 10 French battleship. Another reason why I was going to look at the République this week is because she has been nerfed, apparently, quite a bit in the last update. And her dispersion has gotten worse, and we're not 100% sure because we don't get a clear picture of what the patch notes actually mean there, but I think her Sigma rating has been decreased as well, which means that effectively you gotta get lucky to get shots on target. Sometimes they just go all over the place. So if you want to summarize it, it probably has gotten more trollish, and I haven't played the République before, so I can't really tell how much it's gotten worse. So let's just try it out. To nobody's great surprise, the République did not exist because, well, none of the French battleships past the Richelieu actually existed because, the Germans invaded and that was that. But this thing is also not completely made up. So let's have a very quick look at this ship and go through the statistics. She's got maybe we compare her to the Alsace at tier 9, which I think I still haven't played either, but let's just have a very quick look and see how this goes. So, the very first thing that stands out is that the République gets a rapid reload, and she doesn't just get any old rapid reload, she gets a rapid reload 3, which effectively halves her reload for 15 seconds. That is significant for a battleship of that size. Other than that, she retains the engine overload and the auto secondaries. She also has a significant higher amount of hit points than the Alsace and a slightly better torpedo protection. Other than that, in terms of armor, I think the only ships worse than these were the British. Definitely not the most sturdy ships out there, but that's also not really what you're doing in the French ships. The maneuverability is sort of comparable, I'd say, with the Alsace. The guns is where it gets interesting, because the Alsace is still sitting on the actually existing 380mm guns, which for tier 9 is quite a low caliber. In return, she gets quite a lot of them, with 12 all in all. The République has a 431mm gun. And this is where it got actually interesting, because I figured, well, as I usually do, well, let's take a quick look if there was actually a 431mm gun, and or if Wargaming made these up. And after a little bit of research, I found a document from the Ministère de la Défense and of the Direction des Constructions Navales, Ruelle, Artillerie de Marine. So I think this is a Navy museum of sorts, or an archive maybe. But my French isn't that good. I kind of know how to pronounce stuff still, but I can sort of read it. So if we're forwarding all the way down to the bottom of this document, it turns out that there was a 1939 model of Canon de, and I'm not going to pronounce it, 431. I don't know how to count to that. 400. I don't know. Sorry. 431 of a 1939 model. So the French definitely did design, and they also list a chemise model 1939, which I think chemise would be sleeves. So I think they mean the liner. So they probably designed. They probably had an actual draft design from the late 1930s of a 431mm gun. Even more curious, and remember these are naval gun designs. The French apparently also had a 450mm 1920 design for a naval gun, and they had something for a 520mm gun. I think culasse is the breech, but I'm not 100% sure here. because it's quite difficult to translate these sort of specialist terms, because you oftentimes come up with some different meaning. But apparently the French have been, at least in the early interwar period, thinking about really, really large calibers. So I wonder if that means that at some point in time we are going to see really, really big French guns. maybe that'll come around at some point. But yeah, for now we have the actually existing, at least in a design, 431mm guns, but we only get 8 of them. So bigger caliber, fewer guns. 21-second reload, which is not terrible, and 14.6 kilometer range, which isn't grand, but it's also not dreadful. Now, here comes, the question of the dispersion, and honestly, you're gonna have a difficult time getting a lot of these shells on target at this range, so it doesn't really matter all that much. It does a very decent amount of damage, and the turrets are actually surprisingly flexible with 6 degrees per second of traverse. The secondaries are a 1950s model, and I think that is imaginary, unless the French have built something in the 1950s that I couldn't find out anything about. But better secondaries than the older model on the Alsace. And these 127mm guns are vaguely familiar. These are the guns that you find on the Colbert. So these actually once again existed and were post-war guns on these Atlanta fanfic cruisers. So we've got a bigger caliber as well on the auto secondaries. Look at the range on these things. She's got a 6.7 kilometer base range on the 150s. The AA is very respectable, I'd say, for something that isn't American, and with a good range on the small caliber as well. I think a lot of these things are going to be dual purpose, so there's plenty of that to go around. The surface detection, of course, is dreadful, as we are used to. So the dispersion, right? This is not a battleship with which you sit in the rear. I mean, yes, the rapid reload is great and all, but if you can get only 1 or 2 shells on target at long range, then even having a rapid reload isn't going to make a huge amount of difference. And this would also ignore the other fact that is a strength of this ship. That is the 30 knots base speed. And with the engine boost on, I think she does almost 35. So this is a pretty quick battleship. And as such, I would say this is a brawler. Now, this is not the same sort of brawler as the German battleships, where you find your target, you put your course, and then you just wait until you're in range, and then you shoot. And if somebody decides that they want to stop you, well, good luck. It's not this kind of. So if the German battleships are, like, if we'd have to compare them, if they're battering rams or war hammers, then the French battleships are rapiers. They are fast, they hit hard, they hurt, but they're more of an elegant sort of thing. So you do need to watch out a little bit. They're not a brute force thing that just goes through. So yes, high burst damage, relatively poor armor, good speed is what we're talking about. And this gets us to a slightly unconventional equipment setup that I've done. So I have played around with the main battery mod 3 because it sounds like the logical choice. It sounds like what you'd want, especially given that her dispersion has been nerfed and her sigma rating probably as well. The thing is, it doesn't make any difference because the guns are completely trollish. They're either on target or they're all over the place. So sometimes you hit them, more often than not, they go everywhere. So I figured, well, if the dispersion is not great, then why am I not just getting closer? Given that this is a relatively fast ship. So I actually started using the auxiliary armament. That has 2 advantages. For once, if I want to play positionally and get myself into ambush positions or flanks or all kinds of places where the enemy team doesn't want me to be, more often than not, I might be a little bit on my own seas. And if there's a carrier in play, he might get ideas. So this actually extends my AA range, which is much appreciated. And it also extends my secondary and auto secondary range. The other alternative, obviously, would be the secondary reload. You could do that. You could kind of probably maybe go for the main battery reload, but I really wouldn't, because you only have 2 turrets, and if one of them gets shot off, that means you lose half your guns. So I probably wouldn't do that. The second slot I have on the deck protection mod because, oh boy, does she get set on fire. And the third slot went into steering. Now you could argue that you would use the propulsion mod in second, you know, just to be more nimble, or you could also go double steering. Hell, you could even go for more of an AA build still if you wanted and buff the small caliber AA damage, because you do have a relatively decent range on that. But so all good options depending on how you want to play this ship. The other thing that you kind of need to notice is where the turrets are located, because, well, I've got one turret in the front and I've got one turret in the rear sort of set up here. So the angles aren't bad, and if you look at the superstructure, you can kind of see that, because there's a fair amount of clearance here for the rear turret to point forward, and for the forward turret to point towards the rear. I think the forward turret hasn't quite as good, maybe. Well, it's not a huge difference, I think. But yeah, you can get relatively good gun angles, and you're gonna have to, because you really don't want to sit broadside on against anything. The commander in here is, I've put a level 10 commander in here, so you do want the underwater protection, probably the torpedo alert, and this the usual stuff. I am sailing with fire supremacy because I do want an additional rapid reload on that thing. The generalist, the fully prepared, and obviously the extinguisher, relatively obvious choices. I mean, you could argue that you want the adrenaline rush, but then again, if you're on low health in a French battleship, you're pretty much a one-shot for all the Vermonts and Yamatos and all the big guns out there, so I'd rather go with that. It is very tempting to go with the close quarters combat expert and give yourself better dispersion on the secondaries, but that would mean sacrificing the engine overload skill. And given that speed really is your saving grace at times, so having that available in 1/3 of the 2/3 of the time, and having it last longer is, I think, more important. And obviously you want the master reloader for an extension on the rapid reload and the cooldown as well. So what else can we look at? The elite bonus. You can choose between torpedo damage reduction and elite gun operator. That is a no-brainer for me. So get a little bit better a little better reload and a better traverse on the turrets is what I would like. And that brings us to a grand total. Oh, actually, lastly, we have to check out the camo. I have put the historical camouflage on. I'm doing this a little bit more often, especially with the tier 10 ships, because you will see a lot of people who are playing tier 10, you know, and given that gold is getting increasingly available, you do see people playing with the historical camos a lot more. So I'm starting to put that on a little bit more. But it does give us hit points, it gives us range, it gives us dispersion, and it gives us torpedo damage reduction. Again, I don't think it's a must-have, honestly. Because the dispersion, regardless of what you try, even if you combine this with the precise aiming module, it's still not going to be great at long range. And you're sort of also defeating the purpose, because this is a mobile ship. This is more of a battle cruiser, really. So the range is nice. It's nice to have. So obviously, so are the hit points. Torpedo damage reduction, yeah, you could, but I don't know. For something agile, I personally don't feel torpedo damage reduction that much, and it's not that high to begin with. Like, it's not Japanese levels. But yeah, with that whole setup, we're getting to 61,000 hit points, and the guns are on a just over 20-second reload. The turret traverse is very comfortably quick, and we have a 7.03 kilometer range on the 150 millimeter secondaries, plus an almost or 5.5 kilometer range on the auto secondaries. So that's a very, very respectable range. And also, again, look at the let me show you that a little bit. Zoom in a little bit here. Look at the placement of the secondary. So unlike the main battery forward, secondary battery to the rear sort of design for the Richelieu class, these things actually have a balanced centerline layout of the secondaries. So you've got two secondary turrets forward and one aft, but they can all shoot at the same side. So you can get all your main secondaries, and obviously only half of the auto secondaries, because that's these little turrets here on the side. So you can't get all of them on target. But you can get all 9 of these 150 millimeter guns onto one side, and the same with the main battery. So don't underestimate these. And I like playing the ship in secondary range if I can. But you obviously do need to watch for your health. And it's more of a burst hit and run. So you attack targets that you can do some damage to them and then bugger off again. That sort of. It's a guerrilla play style if you want. All right, enough talk. Let's see her in action. We're up on fault line in domination mode, and obviously it's a tier 10 battle. There's a carrier in place, a Haku, Conqueror, a Freddy, a Moskva, Neptune, Ibuki, and a Shimakaze. An unusual amount of cruisers around here. But we do have a Smolensk, and as you know, the team with the most Smolensks generally wins. But let's see what we can do. So I could go center, obviously. But I've got one of my destroyers and cruisers on the right flank, so I'm feeling with my speed I can probably loop around A, clean that up, and then come into the center from the side. So, but let's see what the carrier is, if the carrier is spotting anything that is coming straight up through the center that we need to deal with, other than the things that we have. Now, yeah, once again, the AA is actually really good. Plus, I do have an extended AA range. I forgot to check that in the stats, but it's definitely decent. So, engine boost up, and we are getting... How much are we going to get? I think it's 34.8 knots if I'm sailing in a straight line. Obviously, I am not right now, but just lending some AA support here and shooting down some airplanes. That's 2, and that's 3. And we know where the Shima is. So there's nobody in the center cup. So yes, I could have looped through there, but you don't know that ahead of time, so you gotta make up your mind. Okay, I'm never gonna hit the Shima from here, but I might be able to blind fire the Ibuki. So just get a quick look at the map where he is and shots out. Let's see if we can get some hits in. Because we do have Smolensk and a Gearing who should be able to take on Shima and Ibuki, but obviously the quicker we get that sorted here, the faster we can get back into B cup, because the rest of the enemy team is probably hanging around C cup. So if we can get this secured here and then push into B, then that'll be good. Okay, Shima is leaving. Another salvo out at the Ibuki, but I think now he's actually turning in towards the island here. But I'm almost in the capture circle, and these two are sort of, I mean, they are moving, but it's faster if I can just go through there and help. So I don't know where Shima went. Probably B cup, but I haven't seen any Shima torps. So okay, now I'm spotted, and I think Ibuki has realized that he's standing alone against 3, actually 4. That other battleship didn't necessarily have to come around here. But yeah, Ibuki should be very, very dead very soon. You want to trigger the rapid reload round about, I think, 4 seconds or so. So I was a little bit trigger happy, but then again, I don't have anything else to shoot at. So once the Ibuki is down, and I think he just actually started moving forward. That's fine. My guns are already reloaded. So another salvo out, but yeah, Smolensk got him, so that's all good. Of course, insta-fire, even with this. Right, now there's 4 of us here, and none of us in the middle, which would generally be a problem if you were in something American that isn't the Montana. But in my case, okay, the Conqueror is actually looking pretty bad already. And we've lost the Missouri around C-Cup, so yeah, the whole enemy team is over there. But the Conqueror is dead, and now we're going to head over into B and sort that out, and then we'll dominate that. There's one cruiser on our side who's defensive. There's Shima, but he's at 11 kilometers. I don't think Shima has a... I don't know what the torp range... I think it's just over 10 on Shima. I can't quite remember. So I get some shots out at the Shima. I seem to have missed him, but that's a Smolensk problem. I can definitely do some... Yeah, yes, please, carrier. Drop me. Don't drop my... I don't know where my gearing is going. Probably carrier hunting. That happens occasionally. But there's a Yoshino who's obviously defensive at this point, because he's being chased by the rest of the enemy team. I'll be right there. I'm almost in range of whatever that is over there. And then I can help out with things a little bit. So we are behind on points, but yeah, that's a Neptune. That is probably not going to live very long. And there's a full health Moskva, obviously. So, oh, that's one lucky Neptune. He survives on 1 hit point, and then the midway takes him out. Okay. I think the carrier has stopped dropping me, which is a pity, really. But now we're capturing B. I don't know where Shima went. But, well, we'll find him eventually. right now we're just scaring Moscow away. They are obviously coming back from Sea Cup, and there's a full health Friedrich der Große. Now the thing is, I'm reasonably certain that I can take on the Freddy in a one-on-one if I have the rapid reload ready. So we were just staying bow in towards the Freddy, and I do need to protect my Yoshino here and my carrier. So if they can shoot at me for now, that'd be great. I can tank Moskva from the side reasonably occasionally, especially if he's not 100% certain where he's shooting. So alright, now we're close enough to the Freddy that we're almost in secondary range. And now it's time to brawl, because I have backup. And the Freddy has just run out of friends, because the Moskva is actually retreating there. So he is now alone and is coming under air attack. Plus he's being targeted by a Smolensk. Yeah, please everybody shoot at me, such that don't shoot at the Smolensk or anything. That's perfect. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, obviously it does hurt. Freddy does hurt, but so do I. Against the Kurfürst, I would probably not be doing this, but against the Friedrich der Große, I can take that one on. Okay, Moskva is still shooting at me and not at the Smolensk. Moskva would be a really hard counter against the Smolensk. I think Moskva has even radar, right? So now he changes his mind. So it's about time to spin up the rapid reload and punish his side again a little bit. It looks like the carrier is busy trying to kill the gearing, but the gearing has actually managed to kill the carrier. Well, that's what you get for not targeting the destroyers. So I'm just blind firing the Moskva a little bit here, and he is reasonably low on hit points that he now has to actually retreat. I was a little bit early with my rapid reload, so I just didn't get it. But yeah, we've just got Shima, and I think we just found the Shima. And yeah, carrier, just stop dropping the Moskva. You're running straight into a Shima. I'm just mentioning that. I mean, you do you. So yeah, Moskva is angling against Smolensk, which isn't helping him because now he's dead. And yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote here, because I'm just gonna grab Sea Cup. But yeah, we are so far ahead that we've only lost one battleship so far. But yeah, don't think just because she's got the second worst armor of all tier 10 battleships that you can't tank. You can, at least for a short period of time, and then you get yourself into cover and recover some hit points and wait for your rapid reload to come off cooldown, and you know then that all goes well. There's nothing else happening. We can watch the carrier and see if he survives, because he's being chased by a Shimakaze right now, and. Yeah, you guys don't need to come here. I've capped already. But yeah, you're not going to get back to range of the Shima anymore. Anyway, we've got 10 seconds, so it's really just a question if the carrier is going to survive or not. But yeah, this is why, as a carrier, you spot destroyers, because otherwise they come after you. The same for the enemy carrier. But you know, you managed to survive. Well done to the carrier. And the carrier even comes out on top. So good things all around. Yeah, that's the other thing I really like about the République, is that you can do this sort of positional play and kind of, you know, zip around the map a little bit and make yourself useful wherever you need it at the time. And yeah, we did come second in the team, so let's do that once more. In our second battle, once again, I do have to apologize for the amount of bots, but it is very difficult to get battles that don't have any bots in them these days. So I promise it's not just a bot shooting fest. We're up against a Midway, another République, an Izumo, and a Hindenburg. The rest is just bots, so we'll just ignore them. So once again, we're playing domination, and we have the advantage of having the Ostergötland, because that is an AA destroyer, and it's not a bot destroyer. So if he can keep clear of the Hindenburg, he should be pretty good at just, you know, grabbing the capture circles and everything. So, let's see where we're heading. Once again, I mean, with no actual player destroyers, and the bot destroyers are harmless, because they never torpedo, or they do, but very occasionally only. So I really only have to, it's really a 4v4 at this point. So I am thinking of heading straight down the middle and giving some AA support in case the enemy carrier is trying to do something silly, like go for the carrier snipe. And yeah, just generally maybe grab a capture circle and see what comes around the corner. Because there's really nothing that I need to be particularly afraid of. I mean, obviously, the enemy République, the carrier, Hell, even the Izumo can hurt really bad. But okay, we've got a bot Izumo over there. Friendly carrier obviously farming the bot. There's a bot Fletcher. I'm just going to ignore that because, you know, it's a bot Fletcher. I don't care. I'll kill it eventually if I have nothing else to shoot at. But I do have an Izumo over there, although he is behind a mountain, so I can't really shoot at him either. Still trying to make up my mind where I'm actually going, but I will grab the center cup. There's a Hindenburg. That's a good target. Well, so let's just unload at the bot one and then turn the ship around such that we get... Oh, never mind. There's a Midway. He's brave. So okay, Midway is going west. Let's keep that in mind. Let's just do away with the things that are presenting themselves and get our guns on target here. Broadsiding bot Izumo. I mean, they're not harmless, the bots. Especially the battleships can be quite nasty. So we'll just do a little bit of farming ourselves, but that thing is pretty much dead at this point. And that Hindenburg is buggering off. So let's switch fire to that, because yeah, that thing is dead. So I don't know what happened, but my counter went off. So I don't know actually how far along I am in terms of seconds on the reload. So I do have to estimate on the rapid reload. A little bug here that we found. So just a couple more shots out at the Hindenburg, but a maneuvering Hindenburg at that range with the French battleship is going to be very, very difficult to hit. There's a better target. There's the Izumo. Now, there's a bit of a fight going on, and we've just lost our own Izumo, courtesy of the enemy carrier. So, oh, hello, Mr. Midway. Let me deliver the good news. Bonjour. And yeah. A target that size, fully broadside on, even in a French battleship you can't miss. So, yeah, once again, I don't really know what my reload state quite is, but I think I can leave the Hindenburg and that bot destroyer over in the other cup to my team, and I'm gonna go chase after these guys. Because if you look at the battle state, we're leading in point. We're equal on kills. We're slightly leading on points. Actually, never mind. We are now also leading on kills, but we are about to lose C cup, and there were 2 battleships over there, so and a carrier. So I'm gonna chase after them and see if I can distract them a little bit while my team is mopping up around A cup. Yep, there's the Midway again, shots out. And I am actually going to early trigger the rapid reload to hit him again. Unfortunately, he goes undetected, but I'm reasonably certain that I know where he is. He should be around there-ish. So double fire, damage on that, and next salvo goes out on the Izumo, because I'd rather... Yep, there was the carrier. All 8 on target. Next salvo goes out. If they're giving me broadside like that, there is still the enemy République down there somewhere. And yeah, I'm not even gonna try and dodge these torps. I know that it could be perma-flooding right here. I get lucky not to, but I would survive that. Let's see if I can get the kill on the Midway, who keeps shedding planes in the meantime. And then I just have to deal with the 2 battleships. So that should be the end of the Midway. And now we've got Izumo and République. Now, I'm on half health. And there's a slight problem, because that's a full health République and an almost full health Izumo, because I'm the only one who's been doing any damage to them. Now, okay, the Hindenburg is... The Östergötland has killed the Hindenburg. How do you... I don't know. Anyway, let's not ask questions. So there's only 2 of them left, which means we've pretty much won this. But I still got to be somewhat careful. So while you're, you know, everything's on cooldown, it's generally a decent idea to have some island cover between yourself and your targets. Now let's see if we can save the carrier, because obviously these guys are going to be looking at the carrier. If they haven't been paying attention, they don't even know that I'm here. I know that they are here, and if the carrier's fighters are coming around, then they'll be back and spotted in a second. And yeah, there they are. Okay, so I know where they're going, I know where they are, they don't know where I am. So I'm just going to have to get around this island here. And I've got the engine boost running, and I got a heal. I've got my last heal coming on. So let's do that, and then let's see if we can distract them a little bit. Now the enemy République doesn't look my way, so I'm gonna get secondaries out. And can I get the rear turret across? No, but I can get the front turret across and at least say hello. So let's see if we can distract them a little bit while they're coming under air attack. I mean, it's a good idea to stick together while you're doing that. But yeah, there come the shots out from the enemy République, and I am broadsiding quite a bit, so that hurts, yes, I know. But that's okay. I've got an island that I can hide behind, and then you two have got your guns pointing all all the wrong direction. Because you are looking my way and not where my team's coming. So yes, obviously this hurts, but we survive, and now we're behind the island. So the next rapid reload salvo from the République is going to donk into the island. Yep. And yeah, my team now has these guys to shoot at while their guns are pointing at me. And they can't shoot at me. They can't even see me. So now they've got to turn the ships around and the guns around. And at this point, I can pop out behind the island again. Hello. Yeah, you were still looking at me. You've got torpedoes coming in from the other side and all other kinds of problems. So yeah, they're changing their targets, and I can still shoot from this range. That's not a problem. So yeah, that is almost dead, and the enemy République has now realized that he's. Well, there's a Yugomo coming, so let's see if we can still get a shot out at the enemy République. He gets donked by the carrier, and that Yugomo is going to kill him, but I get there first. I feel like I deserved that one. So, yeah, that's sort of how I ended up playing this ship. You don't stay where you are. You don't be stationary and do defensive in very rare occasions. Most of the time, what you really want to do is move around, ambush things, use your burst damage to inflict as much as you can, and then get out of there, recover some hit points, and then do it all over again. And I'm really enjoying the capability of doing a little bit against enemy carriers. And yeah, thanks to the enemy midway who probably wasn't expecting that. So there's that. But yeah, is it an easy to play tier 10 ship? I would say no. I think she can be relatively hard to play, because if you get focused, you get focused down pretty darn quickly. Because let's face it, her armor isn't great, and Vermonts and Yamatos are just the bane of your existence. The long-range precise fire is difficult to dodge, and can just make really short work of you. So if you can, you have to use some island cover and find yourselves positions where you can do something. And don't be afraid to zip around the map a little bit more. And you can run away from a lot of destroyers, or at least keep the distance open. The secondaries are not to be underestimated. And yeah, it's a situational brawler. It's a guerrilla ship. That's kind of how I'm feeling that. Yeah, am I going to personally grind up the line? Well, I'm not a huge battleship fan, so probably not anytime soon. But I guess my next tier 10 battleship is probably going to be the Yamato, just because I've got Yamamoto, so I want him on the Yamato. It just has to happen. But that's still far away off. He's still actually grinding through the battle honors on the Nagato, so that'll still take a while. Anyway, that's the République, the pinnacle of the French battleship line. And that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.